You're listening to Everyday Ham, casual conversations for the everyday amateur radio enthusiast.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 1 of the Everyday Ham podcast. This is a new thing we're going to try, so bear with us as we try to get in the swing of thing here over the next few episodes. But we'll kick it off with some introductions. And Jim, why don't you go first?
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, we have 3 of us here, so let's get that clear right out of the book. My name's Jim Davis, and my call sign is November 8, Juliet Romeo Delta. I work out of South Lyon, Michigan, and got involved here in the local club just about 6 months ago, so fairly new or reintroduced to the hobby. In just the last 6 months, came in blazing, of course, and have gotten caught the fire, if you will. Have tons of new equipment. Have been learning as I go, but excitedly enough, had upgraded from technician to general. So I am not an extra yet, but we might talk a little bit about what our goals are for this year, and that might be one of them.
And a proud legacy ham as well.
That's right. Yeah, James makes a good point, and my family is all amateurs. My dad, my mother, and my brother. We just 4 of us in the family. All of us were amateurs. I got my license originally in 2002, so I was just about out of high school at that point. Went and took my technician test. This was after they added, or removed rather, the requirement for CW. So I got away pretty easy. Didn't have to learn any sort of code, and studied up out of a Radio Shack fundamentals book that Dad got us from the local Radio Shack in town. And after quite a bit of reading, this was before the banks were readily available for you to just review the banks of questions. We did go take the test, and I did pretty well on it. I don't remember what the actual score it was, but passed it without too much trouble. My brother and I tested on the same day, and my original call sign was Kilo Charlie 8 Tango Golf Bravo, and he was Tango Golf Charlie. So we got subsequent call signs, my brother and I. So that was kind of neat. But we used those on the farm. We lived on 80 acres for, well, as long as I can recall, up in Gaylord there, and it was useful just for utility around the farm, calling from the house when dinner was ready, calling to come back up to get something that you missed, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of the starting point anyway. But excited to be with you guys because with me a couple of folks that have a wealth of knowledge and have been involved in much more depth for longer. So.
I wouldn't be too sure of that one.
We'll send it over to Rory. Go ahead, Rory.
Well, I did not grow up on a farm, so my story is not that exciting. I grew up all of 3 miles from where I live now, here in just outside of downtown South Lyon, Michigan. Not too far from Jim. We all of us met at our local club, which was something we all had in common, which is a good thing. But I was originally licensed probably just a couple months before Jim, as my original call was Kilo Charlie 8 Sierra Zulu Romeo, which came just before the T's. So I bet 6 months or so. I don't remember what month. I want to say February of 2002 I got licensed, and I was still in high school. The current call, though, Whiskey 8 Kilo November X-ray, I took a couple years ago when I finally passed the general. So I had a long up and down. I have continued to have a long up and down career with amateur radio. Licensed in 2002, of course. Played around with it for several years. Got busy with college and work and life, and always had a radio around, but not always on. Always listening, always lurking, but never super active. So somewhere in the last 5 or so years, I started getting active again and upgraded to general, and that's when I took the new call sign on. And again, had a little bit of a career change probably 4 years ago, and got busy with that, and suddenly someone at work decided that he wanted a ham radio license, and he saw these couple antennas on my car, so he started asking questions, and he's the one who knew I lived in South Lyon and said, well, do you belong to that club? And at that time, that answer was no. I hadn't been a club member for probably 10 years. And suddenly I got very interested in helping him study for technician at work and get his mobile and house set up together. And suddenly I became super radioactive again. So it's been a good journey. I've met a lot of good people along the way, people that I still know, people that I've met in other parts of the country, whether it's from using the digital modes such as D-Star or All-Star, and just travels along the way, always having the handheld with me. It's been fun meeting people everywhere. So that's a bit of my story. I'm sure there's more, but I'll remember more later. James.
I was going to say, I don't think I have that exciting of an introduction as the two of you. So I'm James Mills, K8JKU, the most recent licensed ham of the bunch, actually. So I would consider myself a COVID ham. So I was licensed with my technician in 2021. I started studying in 2020 because, like a lot of people at that time, I had some available space to occupy myself.
Yep.
Got my general and extra in the same year, so 2023. So my ADD kicked in. I just kept going, and there I was. So I'm definitely more of a newer ham. My grandpa would always listen to CB radios and was always fascinated with scanners and things of that nature. So I always wanted to learn more about ham radio. So it wasn't until, again, I don't remember why I even saw something or thought of amateur radio, but I did, and I just started watching some YouTube videos and studying up and using all the online tools I could at that time, and here I am. So I'd say the thing I'm most interested in is I now have a technical background by profession, but I love coding. I love electronics, always have. A lot of consumer electronics, of course, as a lot of people. And I'm just excited about things like Parks on the Air and going out and poding. And the club we're in is actually, I would say, a pretty active POTA club as well. So getting to spend time with you guys and the other members out about in parks has been pretty fantastic. And I love it. I love getting out and operating and learning new things about radios and antenna designs and everything that comes with it. So I would say that is a little bit about me. And again, shortest introduction of all three.
Well, so it's interesting that you're the newest ham, but you're also the most accomplished by way of licensed class. James is the only extra among the three of us.
It's all about timing.
He enjoys having those extra few frequencies to use because more than once the ham alerts popped up with JKU somewhere that I can't go hunt him. So he does. I know James enjoys having those little.
Yeah, I just like to flaunt my extra privileges, a little bit.
Get spotted down in the extra class area, so everybody knows.
Yes, I did leave something out. Of my introduction, you made me think when you were talking about CB and scanner. That's kind of where I started when I was a kid. Is we had a CB in the minivan when we'd go up north, and we would hang out on Channel 19 for the drive up 75 up to the little family place up in Bel Air, and we would use a couple handheld CBs up there for coordination in and around the 10 acres, but then I got involved having a scanner at some point because my grandpa always had one. And at some point, I found these frequencies with a bunch of old dudes and weird guys that would go on and on about things at all hours. And keep in mind, this was the 90s, so repeaters were a lot more active now. They would be active from 5 in the morning till 10 at night, and sometimes even later. And my dad would listen. He's like, "What's all these people talking?" And he said, so he encouraged me, even though he wasn't a ham. He knew what ham radio was. He encouraged me to get licensed. So that's a chunk of my story I forgot. I'm glad you mentioned scanners and CBs, James. Cause
it's where we got comfortable with the static sound, so it doesn't drive us nuts as that scanner.
I can hear it all the time, and it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have patience. You guys know that.
That's true. Maybe one transition before we get started into the main topic, which is not going to be it's a little bit of a softball of a topic to start. It is episode 1 after all, but maybe we talk a little bit about the mission of this podcast. What are we trying to accomplish, and what's the overall themes? And I think the name Everyday Ham sort of alludes to what we're trying to go for here a little bit. But
yeah, I agree with you. We went through a lot of names. We used AI. We tried to use AI.
Yep.
It made some suggestions. Some were hilarious. The signal struggle. There was out there. There were a couple other that were pretty funny. But no, I think the title should give you a pretty good idea of where we're headed here. This is not supposed to be a a pretentious conversation necessarily. It's intended, I think, to be an approachable discussion that talks about the current topics that are relevant to folks that are operating radio. And radio has changed a lot, I think, in many exciting ways in the last couple of years even. Obviously, I got back into it in just the last 6 months, but to see, the POTA Parks on the Air becomes such a popular radio sport, if you want to call it that, to see contesting pick back up and have folks that are just far more in tune with what is happening on the radio. It seems like there's a kind of a burgeoning interest in this particular hobby again, with a more diverse crew than perhaps there were in the past, right? A more diverse range of ages and folks that are interested. So that's my feel on it is that this should be something that you maybe are hearing something that you hadn't seen already, and we're kind of breaking down that topic and exploring it a little bit further. Maybe it'll get you thinking about that idea too. So that's my idea for what we might do here. You guys are here too, though. So what do you think?
I think a lot of it too is something James mentioned in his introduction, is that he doesn't work professionally in a technical background. I don't either. Jim, I guess, suppose in a way you do, but not super electronics radio background. No. You work in tech.
We're not electronics engineers or electrical engineers or radio engineers. And
right. And the conversation, I'm sure at some point will go that direction, and we'll probably make complete fools of ourselves, because some of that stuff I just don't know about.
We may be wrong. Yeah.
We may be wrong, but I think it'll allow for a conversation about things that influence amateur radio, affect amateur radio, help and even hinder in some cases the hobby. I think it'll just be a conversation where we kind of hit on those types of topics, not just necessarily technical items. I think we're thinking about talking about equipment. Of course, we're going to talk about equipment. Some of us purchase a lot of equipment, and some of us sell a lot of equipment.
Guilty as charged.
Right. So we will talk about that, but I think the topics will be a lot more broad than just the technical side.
Yeah, and I don't think I have much to add. Jim touched on it. For me, the hobby is I know a lot of people may not agree with it. However, I do feel if I look at our demographic window, I see it growing, a new audience coming in. And I also like more than ever, as Jim alluded to before, there are distinct silos back in the hobby that overlap. Ham radio has always been a hobby of many hobbies within it. But you're definitely seeing a lot of cool new things come out, from emergency preparedness to the parks on the air to contesting, people learning CW again and getting out there and keying. And I just think it's for me personally, I like it as an idea of sort of journaling the growth of the hobby for myself and for you guys, and what I've learned and what's coming up, and having an opportunity to share that with others as well, which I think is a pretty cool idea and something that we can do for each other as well. So
yeah, I like what you just said there, which is there's many ways to ham. That's my 100%. Summary, right? Like
there's no wrong way to ham. Yeah,
there is no wrong way to eat the Reese's here. No, it really is. There's every time I turn on my computer and I pick up a radio, I find something new that I haven't explored yet, and that's what's really exciting about it. Is often I'll pick up a new hobby, and for a few months I'm really, really interested in it, right? And after those few months go by, you feel like you've reached a sort of, maybe not mastery, but you've gotten pretty good at it. And so it becomes difficult to continue to feel like you're expanding your skill set. And then your interest kind of wanes. And so I love that about radio, and I like that you mentioned that. Is there's just so many ways that you can use your radio. The same radio can be used to send pictures. It can be used to talk to someone on a 2-meter repeater. It can be used to have a digital conversation halfway across the world on 30 watts. It's awesome just how much you can do with it. And I think that is the draw now is you've got more interest in exploring those more niche use cases for it. And it's always been one of curiosity. The hobby's always been one of curiosity, but I think that it's just, it's really exciting to hear that.
Yeah. So I think with that, we can move on to the main topic. And everyone bear in mind, we will get to more meaty topics in the future. We promise. But since it is January and we're still in the mood of 2025 just starting, we figured we'd do what are we excited for in the year 2025 specifically, related to amateur radio, or really anything we feel in our lives that maybe is important to us. So, Jim, if you're willing to kick it off, why don't we go to you and let's see what your 2025 looks like.
Yeah, well, it's so easy as a 6-month-old ham, so to speak, to be excited about pretty much everything this year. So, top of my list, of course, is I already do have my campsite booked, and so do many of the folks in our club to go to Hamvention. And so, as a guy,
hotel booked.
Yep, Rory, you have your hotel booked. I don't hate that at all.
Rory may be the smartest of us all, and let's just acknowledge that now.
That's right. As a ham that's never been to Hamvention, I feel like it's you got to reach a sort of like ham mecca at some point, and Hamvention might be that place, right? I am certainly excited about it. I've been looking forward to it for a number of months, and it's fun to hear the stories from club members that have gone for years. You know, what they think is awesome about it, what they think is annoying about it, because it certainly is a place full of people, and
more
at some point or
another.
That's why I'm
immediately
staying at
more
a hotel.
coffee vendors.
There seems to be a problem with accessibility to coffee. I have been told this.
I mean, Rory and I
It's
might need a
bad.
fix from time to time, and we need more of it.
Oh, it's bad.
Jim, sorry.
That's probably my biggest complaint about Dayton Hamvention, though, is the lack of coffee vendors. It's not good.
That's really it.
When you have I don't know how many people go to Dayton every year. I don't know those numbers, but when the average of them are all dudes and old dudes and people that run on coffee in general, or young dudes or middle-aged dudes, I suppose, that run on coffee. You got one little coffee cart with, little trailer, 10-foot trailer, probably smaller than that. And they have 5 boxes of donuts and a few things of coffee to try and get through the morning. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
To talk about the scale of Hamvention, a quick AI insight on that. 2024's event apparently set a record with over 35,000 attendees. So that's a lot of people in a fairground-sized space with 2 boxes of donuts and a couple of pots of coffee.
So what's funny too, Jim, when you brought up your topic, and the smile I initially had was when we didn't tell each other our 2025s before we started, and I had a similar one involving Hamvention on my list, and I knew it would match in, but mine's a little bit different.
Okay.
Mine is, my first time at Hamvention was last year, so 2024 Hamvention, the record-breaking year.
Yep.
And it's a lot to take in, right? You're learning the lay of the land day one. Learning how to navigate, learning what vendors are there, do all the things people tell you got to do. And it's kind of a whirlwind. I'm excited for year 2 because now that I have that base of knowledge, I get to, I think, dive a little bit deeper, right? I know where to go get the things I need to get, what's there already, so I can kind of save my pennies and go out and spend them a little bit more wisely.
Sure.
I can find the coffee cart where I know I got to go at these hours because it's not going to have the long line or run out of coffee. So kind of looking at it with maybe some new, fresh eyes and a comfortability to it. And I'm really excited for that because now I know more people in the hobby. I'm going with a lot of our club members and friends, and to spend that time and to camp and do all these things are really exciting for me. And I think it's going to be a new perspective on something.
Yeah.
So this will be my 4th Dayton Hamvention. I've done 3 at the current location, and I did 1 at the original location back either 2004 or 2006. It was one or the other. So that one was a quick trip for me down to the early one. I took the bus out of Ann Arbor that the Aero Club provides, and with another ham friend of mine, blasted down there, walked around real quick, bought a VX7, and came home. That was my first Dayton event.
Nice.
And I still have that VX7, of course. And then I didn't go again until 2022. I think that's right. Yeah, my one of my ham friends, Sean K at SAW, had already been several times to the new spot and wanted me to get down there, so I agreed and made a quick trip. And then last year I went as well. But this year it is, I think, particularly going to be a good time. I just the social group. There's so many more people. The club's grown. I've met more people.
Yeah, it has.
Just from being more active. In general, I know a lot more people that are going to be there. So the show at the at the fairgrounds will be good, and then the campground, that's always a plus too. I will be at the campground a little bit, even though I'll go hide.
You have an open invitation. Yeah,
you're welcome to come have a s'more with us. But
I will be there, but I will be at some point retiring to the Holiday Inn. So,
well, the bed will probably be way more comfortable there. Let's be real.
Yeah, and less rain.
Yeah, that's right. Well, let's not say it out loud. I know everybody says that you guys get rain every year.
The universe now. I'm a horrible person. I fully own that one. Rory, what was your 2025? What would you say?
So two things and a bigger thing. One, and you like we talked about earlier, is you beat us on this. I figure I've been a ham more than 20 years. It's time to get the extra done. I just need to get the extra class done. I don't care about the frequencies, the extra stuff that you get with extra, but I need to get it done. The one goal, and it'll take me most of the summer to work up to it. The second goal, I guess, will take me most of the summer to work up to it. Is I want to do a CW POTA activation. And that'll take some work. I still need to finesse some parts of my Morse vocabulary. I have a lot of it. I can follow more than I realize when I actually listen. But I was talking to another ham friend of ours, Frank NF8M, who's done a ton of CW over his life, and I told him, I struggle mostly with the numerals, the numbers, and a couple of the letters, and he gave me some tips of things to listen to and to play with to practice that, and I think I'll do a little bit of that and see how I get. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but it's something I want to do. And then the big goal is I got to get an HF antenna outside. This condo life is terrible. I have wires running around my attic. I have wires running around my living room, down the hall. I can't do that. I need an antenna outside.
We did say this was going to be a relatable podcast, and I think most folks are in a situation where there's a limited way that they can install an antenna. So I don't think you're unusual as far as it goes. Most folks have this problem, so we'll be curious to hear what your solution to that problem is.
That sounds like future episodes for sure, because Jim and I went through that earlier this year. Well, you have an abundance of HF antennas. That might be overdoing it.
I'll save it for another time because I have strong feelings about the things that I've put up.
Well, and I am an HOA. Not to quote another YouTube channel, but I'm an HOA ham. So I definitely had on a smaller lot, so my footprint's not as big. So I had some more limitations. But I still remember the experience of being able to run that coax into my house and flip on a radio without having to go out in my garage and put up the soda beam mast and all that. And it was a great day. So
yeah, absolutely.
Fun. Even when I finally ran the wire in the attic, it had a better working HF antenna, and that's just in the last couple months. I mean, that's maybe 2 or 3 months at the most ago. I climbed up in the attic and because there's a whole story there too. But we could. I don't know, but
the Antenna Follies episode.
Well, just the buy a radio because it's a good price from a guy in a neighboring city, and then realizing, well, I'm going to have this sitting on my desk with no real antenna to use it. So then, one day after work, I'm crawling around the attic, and I'm surprised I didn't fall through because my attic is interesting. So. But we got it. But I got to get something outside. It's Jim was over here and we were wandering around looking at my trees off the side of the building, and
we have an idea.
There's a couple good opportunities out there, I think, and they'll have to wait, I think, till at least spring or warmer winter. I'm not going to freeze. As far as the joke goes of doing antenna work in the winter, like everyone tends to do, this one I'm not going to freeze to do. So.
Yeah, it's worth saying that if anybody isn't familiar with where the three of us are located, it is very cold over here right now. We are in the southern part of Michigan, and it is 18 Fahrenheit out today.
We're not even in the cold part of Michigan.
No, we're not, but it is very, very cold. And I will also, I liked part of Rory's story because it will probably come up again and again if we keep doing this. It is, I not only love buying equipment, but I also love sharing great deals so that other people buy equipment. And Rory may have fallen victim by buying that 7100. Oh, we're on number 2. See, I'm doing great. I'm doing excellent.
Yeah, you're helping other people spend their money. It's a great job.
Well, there's two items I've purchased that would not have occurred without your influence and or assistance. So we have everyone's favorite mobile antenna, the ATAS 120 that people either love or hate. So
yep.
doing all this POTA, and you got to get to a park, got to set up an antenna and do all the things. Wouldn't it be nice just to have your car ready to go and you just pull into the park? So the ATOS seems like a good thing, and my POTA rig's an FT891, so those work nicely together.
Absolutely.
So I don't even know, how did you acquire it first? You bought it from someone.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the classic NHJRD deal, which is you're browsing Facebook on a random afternoon, and you're headed north to Gaylord, and a guy posts something for a great deal, and you just have to have it. So you go get $500 out of the bank, and pretty soon you have new radios and antennas and cable and the whole nine. So, yeah, that was that deal was pretty fun. That was an FT897D, which is an older HF rig, but all mode. A pretty well sought after rig, and I know my dad had a couple of them in his day. But pick that up. Rory has one. James, do you have one secretly?
No, I haven't got there. However, he did get me on the ATAS 120.
Well, see,
so Rory,
this is a full round robin.
Well, I was going to lead into that. Actually, I was going to. So Jim decides the ATAS at that moment's not for him, and
it came with the 897. I bought the 897, the ATAS, and some extra parts for $500, which is a killer deal. The ATAS is probably $300, right?
So I had been thinking about it. And I said, well, wouldn't it be nice, since I hear such terrible stories about the ATAS, to just try it on my vehicle and see how it works. Yep. So I borrow it, and I figure I'm going to have it a week, and I have it a little while, and Jim says, well, you should just buy it. It's here's the deal. Yeah. And I think it was Radio Club meeting that Sunday, and I had the cash in my pocket and ready to go, sold, and and that did result in James buying one, because I gave it positive review, and at another event you were able to see it operate at least enough to understand it, I think. And
at a POTA event. Yeah, and you even had it in a let's say less than flattering operational position mounted on your Jeep on the back lift gate. It's non-grounded, and it still performed well. And for those that don't know, the ATAS 120 is the Azu's automatic active tuning mobile antenna. Yep. So it's I don't know how big it is, but it's a coil and actuates based up and down based on the Yaesu. Your Yaesu radio sending in a signal, and it adjusts. And yeah, I tried it, and we did a demonstration. Like, you flipped it on, you tuned it to 40, I think it was even.
Which is the tallest band it'll tune to.
Yeah, which is the tallest it'll go up to. And I think the SWR at a not so great spot ungrounded was 1.5-ish, almost under 2. It was under
totally
2.
Transmittable.
Yeah, making beautiful contacts, good audio, good signal reports. Yep. And winter was coming, so I was definitely tempted to
play the song.
Have to set up my soda beams outside my Jeep. So yeah, I was a sucker. I paid full price for mine. I bought mine, got a second 891 mounted in my Jeep, and actually, for a episode idea in the future, are mobile installations, because for my Jeep, which is a little bit more off-road outfitted, I do a lot of trails and also love going hiking and other things that require sometimes an off-road vehicle in the area. But I love having the what I learned on my ATOS and where to mount it on a Jeep Wrangler JK. But we have some interesting setups, Jim, because you have your BMW there as well. Yep. With a pretty interesting setup.
Yeah, I have two very starkly opposite rigs that I have radios in. Nothing with an HF rig that's permanently mounted. I do have a POTA setup, and we'll talk about POTA setups, I'm sure, at some point. But both my rigs are very much the opposite end of the spectrum. The first is a 3/4 ton, or it's a full size truck, 350 F350 with a FTM 500, which I like that radio a lot. I came in after the FTM 400 had already been retired, and so I didn't really get the pleasure of having the big screen that everybody loved on it. So I just bought the 500 thinking, hey, this is the best radio that Yaesu has that could be installed in a mobile, and I have enjoyed using it. And then the i3, which is the small carbon fiber battery powered only car, very tiny, got a little FTM 300, and I tried a very svelte through glass antenna on that, and I promptly melted it. So that didn't work great. And so what I ended up doing was going back to a very well-respected antenna that the club runs. I believe it's a diamond We'll look up the number for you guys, but it's an antenna that uses VHB stuck to the outside window. I've got the cord run pretty nicely on the outside of the vehicle so that it's not in the way of its normal use, and it turned out really well. It works just about as good as the full-size truck does, and really happy with that mobile installation. But I'm sure we'll go into mobile in more depth at some point.
And we'll have to talk about that one because yours is an excellent solution for someone who can't use a mag mount or has no way to do a lip mount. Yours works well. So.
Yeah. The i3 is a unique vehicle. It exhibits almost all of the most challenging things that a vehicle can exhibit for a ham radio operator, which is there's almost no metal.
It's a proving ground, if you will.
There's almost no metal on the car. It's glass, plastic, and carbon fiber. So there's no place to put an antenna where you gain any sort of real benefit from an RF perspective. There's no good ground plane. You're at the mercy of buying a properly ground independent antenna and one that can be attached in a way that doesn't require ferrous materials. So it's a very interesting test bed for those folks. I think as we move into the EV era, or perhaps just higher end or high tech material era, where you're going to have to use some of these different options and move away from some of the traditional mounts that were magnetic or lip mounted, because the materials don't support those things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's becoming more aluminum, more everything. So But I think we've learned we're not good at staying on a topic, which is a journey
Excellent.
for ourselves. But Rory, back to your CW real quickly. We have the Winter Support Your Parks event coming up. Do you think you might want to give it a try on a safe space surrounded by friends?
I'll be activating Winter Support Your Parks from somewhere in Indiana. I have an event that's taken me out of state. And that's another topic if we want to go off topic, or our other hobbies and other ham radio adjacent things, but we do in our lives. But that can be another time too. But I'll be down in Indiana for something that weekend, and the plan is to depart from that Sunday morning and get a quick activation just to have a support your parks in the book and then head home. So unfortunately, I will not be out there with you guys.
Yeah, the club, the South Lyon Club, which is what we belong to, the South Lyon Area Amateur Radio Club, is an extremely active club when it comes to the Support Your Parks days. And so we usually do try to plan a date around that, a date being at the park someplace where all of us can get together and activate and get our credit for that Support Your Parks experience. And this one's a pretty exciting one because the club did go ahead and cover the accommodations for the weekend. So we'll be out at the Brighton State Recreation Area in a heated cabin where we'll be able to... a lot nicer than pitching a tent in the snow. And we'll have all of our antennas set up. We'll have some stations available, and it'll be an outreach event to some extent too, right? We have we'll all get our credit. I think all of us are extremely active on POTA, and you can go check out our awards if you're interested. We'll try to chase you down if you're listening. But yeah, we'll be out there, and folks can show up and explore HF using the club call too. So it'll be a really neat experience, I think, and looking forward to that. But
yeah, that'll be good. And I guess I piggybacked on your 2025, Jim, but
you did.
I have a sort of I don't think it's going to happen in 2025 list, but I'm curious to see what would happen. So, and this maybe even divulges off the topic a little bit too.
Okay.
I'm curious more than anything. I don't think anything's really going to happen, but I'm curious with AI and all the availability of AI, the buzz of AI, the tools available, NVIDIA launching its own personal AI computer for $3,000 at the Consumer Electronics Show this last weekend. If it ever comes into ham radio. And again, I don't think 2025 is a year. I think ham radio is a hobby that is loves its traditions. It's a hobby with some frugal individuals that love building their own equipment, which is awesome. And one of the other side hobbies, that's one of the best parts. But, there are a lot of advantages, especially as manufacturers start to build more radios with SDR. You look at, active noise cancellation through AI algorithms. You look at some more automated logging for contesting being an option and some support there. I'm curious. I'm curious at Hamvention or any of these other activities if that starts to become a topic. Again, I'm not very hopeful, nor would I personally think I would enjoy it. But I'm again, if the buzz carries over into other parts of my life, I guess.
I think the big thing. Oh, go ahead, Rory. I'd like to hear yours.
So how far in AI? Because if you really want to look at it, it's already started. We've been doing some work with the local repeater here, and we've chosen to go AI for some of the speaking voices on it. So,
Good point.
So it's started. How it's not gone very far, but could it get to the point where instead of very manually making those voices do what they do, could we have a prompt where we could program right into it and it would read it without having to record it and upload it and do all the things?
Yep.
So it's already starting. So. And someone at work today, our marketing guy, was telling me about a conference he went to recently, and I guess our cloud service that we use at work, it's a large company. They have an AI overlay to it, to where instead of searching for your files, you just give it a brief prompt of which file you want, and it finds it using AI. So AI is going to start doing all the things, and I wouldn't be surprised if it shows up in ham radio more than just what we're using it for here.
Yeah, well, even things like Jim, I'll give you a second here. Even things like propagation reporting and data analytics, seeing what you could get out of that from a more maybe tactile, actual usable data for a lot of hams. That's go to a website and here's the AI generated model of propagation. Or the best chance to make a contact with. If you want that rare DX somewhere, this maybe is your best time, which I know those models are out there. I know the graphs are there, and there's a lot of really good websites that have that. But you start to add some, let's say, intelligence behind it, or more quick data analytics, it becomes a little more intriguing. But
it becomes more.
What were you gonna say?
I was just going to say, I think that your example is prime. It's what I was kind of thinking about saying right out of the gate, which is it becomes more approachable, right? I don't necessarily know, and this is going to sound ridiculous, right? I've only been operating HF for a few months. I don't necessarily know how to use the beacon stations, right? For example, and so there we go. So those things that seasoned hams have used and leveraged to understand better propagation and where they can get out to, so that they can become competitive in events. I think that what this does is it makes that type of thing more approachable to newer hams, folks that are still learning it. And what I hope happens is that in doing that, it will expose those hams in a way that says, okay, that's a really useful tool. I'm going to go learn a little more about it so that I could do it myself if I need to. Now, not everybody's going to do that. At some point or another, if somebody makes dinner for me, I probably am going to love that dinner gets made for me, right? but if the propagation reports are easy to get, I love that. Sure, I'll take a look, I'll see where I can get out, and then I'll point my antenna in that direction. And now this all presumes that I have a beam, which I do not on this house here. So that not yet. It would be great. And I had one other thought there, which is to say that, I don't necessarily think we're going to see AI in the sense that we see it in a lot of the networked applications on our computers yet. But I do think that we'll start to see it nip at some of the added enhancements. And one of the things you mentioned that I think is really likely to see it first is the ability to clean up audio in more effective ways, right? Filtering could benefit tremendously from being able to be cleaned up and made legible at lower powers. And I think that what you're going to see is with enough cleanup, you start to compete with some of these digital modes that are very low power on sideband, on phone, and some of those other places. Now, that's a longer shot, right? That's going to take a lot of work. But I do think that that's where it's going to start to shine is being able to enhance some of those things that we've been doing using already initially analog and now digital filters, seeing those things evolve even further. And I think places like Flex Radio are probably going to be the first folks to do it because they're already SDR. They're already developing an expansive suite of software. But we'll find out, and I'm excited to see what that looks like in coming years. Rory had something there.
I don't know that I did. I think I was just agreeing with what you were saying. But the idea of AI on the essentially the way you describe it coming on as a digital mode is very interesting. And it does make sense that it would potentially be able to do that at some point. Pick a weak signal, clean it up, and spit it back out to where you can hear it.
Right.
That's fascinating, and I never thought about it that way. But that would take a lot of things to a new level if that became an option. And unfortunately, I'm not smart enough to create it because I could probably make some money.
and that's a little bit why I said it's a moonshot for me, because you look at a mode like FT8, FT4, weak signal propagation, or those, and that's still a controversial mode for activating for some people.
Yeah.
We have members that love FT8. We have members that don't understand FT8. And we have members that just, it's not for me, and I'll never do it. And all are right. There's no wrong answer there. But you start to add in more, let's say, AI-based features or something. I wonder if people would be more pushback to it.
Yeah, it would be interesting to understand whether or not operators will embrace something that it seems to take some of the control out of their hands. That's what I always look at it. And when we talk about the digital modes, I think that's one of the big reasons that there is consternation, so to speak, on those modes, right? Like it doesn't feel as a traditional ham like they're doing all the things that were required to make a contact, and so it feels almost easier. And I think that's a good thing because it does make it approachable for certain people that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm not using it as a derogatory term. You have some people that consider themselves appliance appliance operators. They just want to buy something, plug it in, have relative success with it, and to them, making those usos is all they want. They're perfectly happy, and that's again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's fine. But then you have people that want to hit the knobs, they want to hit the buttons, they want to hear the static, and it's kind of why I'm in radio. I want to feel like I'm doing something a little bit here, and that I have some control and experiment and see how things change when I turn the knob a little bit differently. But
manipulate the dials, right? Like and see what your change results. Yeah, manipulate the dials and see what results of your changes. So no, I love that idea. I think I'm totally in agreement with you. I don't think this is the year that we see it in a big way, but I think that's probably a 2 or 3 year out type of thing. And I would also say that whenever somebody asks me about this in just a general context, AI in a general context, because it's everywhere right now, we're so early on in the evolution of what it's going to be that we don't necessarily understand it yet, and I think that it is currently mostly a marketing term, and that's heavily. And that's where we're at with it right now. And there are certainly some bright lights that it will certainly probably develop from, but not yet. So we'll see what happens though.
That's why I said moonshot. I'm curious. Moonshot. It's more of a curiosity, and if it's going to come out, it's going to be Hamvention or the Tokyo radio show probably.
Tokyo.
If I had to pick two activity or ventions that it may come out at in the future.
Well, that's a great little segue. Since we're still talking a little bit about 2025 and Hamvention here as our excitement for the year. Yep, bringing it right back around. Are there any things this year at Hamvention that you think that we're going to see that are going to be exciting, or have we already seen all of those things at Tokyo's Ham Show?
Well, I'm excited to get my hands on and see hopefully the new Kenwood Mobile. That's a big one for me. That we all got teased with the Tokyo show.
The grainy photo.
The grainy photo, and that was one of those funny things. None of you guys caught that, and I'm like, didn't anyone see that Kenwood thing? And we had to back up the video to catch it. I mean, I was more interested in that than whatever that big old thing ICOM that it was showing off that everyone wanted to see. This what is it, 7650?
Yeah, the Flex Beast, basically, the Flex competitor.
Yeah. I could have cared less about that because I'll never own one. But
the 7760.
7760.
Yep.
Good. I'm glad I'm good at numbers. But
you were close.
The Kenwood. There's a few other things, small things. When you get to Dayton, Jim, I think you'll understand this. When you start seeing the smaller booths with the more innovative, the more random stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't say the more random stuff, but the people that have created something. The guy who, for example, everyone in the club is aware I run the Compact Tenna, the little funny-looking antenna that sits on the back corner of your vehicle for my mobile. That guy's at Dayton talking about all his crazy ideas. Last year he was showing off a 40-meter antenna that sits in a bucket. I mean, it's literally the bucket. It's those are the things I look forward to more than the big radios that are there for sale. It's fun to see the new stuff. And one other thing that's continuing to grow as POTA grows is portable power. I think we'll see some more options and cheaper options for portable power at Dayton this year too.
Yeah, it's that. I mean, Two things there. I think the innovative stuff is definitely usually going to come from those kind of home brewers still. And it's exciting to see those guys still showing up to a big show like Hamvention and putting it all out there, right? Showing these smaller or niche products that they've developed. And they may work well and they may not. I think that the 40-meter bucket antenna that you talked about, I did look at some point because I'm in an HOA. I thought, I'll throw it out in the backyard. Reviews were somewhat mixed, so I decided I'll go a different direction. But it was just a really cool thing to see that was an option for you as a ham. And, it's the size of a paint pail. So
right.
It's really not that big. But no, I think that answer is really interesting. The Kenwood mobile rig is going to be exciting to see. I think it was a sort of sleeper at the Tokyo Fair. It got overshadowed by the FTX-1F, which is the Yaesu QRP rig that's coming out that everybody's got a pre-order for. I do. I think James does.
Yeah. I put in my $35, I believe.
Yeah, we're holding one. Who knows if we order it, but we both have the pre-order. And the 7760, right? So the Kenwood kind of snuck under the radar. So I hope that at Dayton, they make a little more of a splash with it. It does look like it will be very much, if you're a D75 operator, D74 operator, it's going to feel right at home. And I hope that it has all of the coolest features that you're looking for.
That's the hope I have with that radio, because I do run the D74 handheld, been very, very pleased with it, and to have that in the mobile, and it'll be a big upgrade. I do run the FTM 500 Yaesu in the mobile, but that I put in the mobile simply just to learn with and play about Fusion a little bit, but my primary mobile is the older ID5100 ICOM, which now is probably a 10-year-old radio at least, so...
Would you say you're primarily an ICOM user? Are we already picking camps?
There's no good answer for that, and I have friends that would, at least for me, there's no good answer there, because I have friends who make fun of me because there was a time when I said I will never buy a Yaesu, or I would never buy an ICOM, or I'm not buying a Kenwood, they're too expensive.
Yeah, you can't do that.
So
can't do that. Yeah,
there are companies, the manufacturers of radios that I won't purchase, but that's another story for another time.
Oh, yep.
But no, I think primarily I am a Yaesu person that owns ICOM. I generally am more satisfied with my Yaesu products. My 891 HF rig, I love it. I mean, it's to me, it has everything it needs. The 500, the FTM 500, excellent radio. And at some point I will have a Yaesu on the desk here to have Fusion in the house. So, it will happen. Falling into the ICOM world at the time was because I was operating a lot of D-Star at the time, and that was their thing. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And
ICOM was a little bit ahead of Yaesu as far as digital adoption was concerned.
Yeah, by a little bit, maybe a year or so, D-Star was out, and then they may have been out at the same time, but D-Star got a little bit more attention a little earlier than Fusion did. Yeah.
James, what do you mostly operate? Do you have any thoughts?
What camp? Oh, man, getting thrown right into the camp bucket.
Right here.
I'm probably not much different than Rory.
Okay.
I like Yaesu products. The 891 is my trusty POTA / travel radio.
So did I catch you have two of those? I missed that. I didn't realize you had a second one.
Bought a second one.
Bought a second one. I full-time mounted one in the Jeep for the ATAS.
I knew you did that, but I didn't realize it was a dedicated second rig. Good work.
Because I didn't want to give up my dedicated POTA radio either. That fits nicely in my backpack.
That's a good move.
That'd be too crazy. Plus, I figured it's never bad. Was it Mike W8MSC? I think it was him. Always, if you like it and it's available, buy two. Because you never know when you're going to need the spare, basically. And it's good advice to live by, especially when it comes to things like masts. And the radios may be a bit much because that's a high-price item. Let's not get too carried away. But yeah. But my trusty HF radio at the moment is ICOM 7300. That's what I have in the basement, and it's good for me. I like it. It's compact. It has the features, but I tend to like the Yaesu interface, which is maybe a little bit controversial. I tend to like the Yaesu interface. I feel like the menu systems to me actually make sense, and and get in and get going, and I like them, and I like the performance and I like the styling, which is maybe the least ham thing to say, but
No, I think that's totally fair. I mean, a lot of us do. You like the look of the radio too. I think that's a totally fair thing to say. I've heard the Yaesu products are likened to more audiophile equipment type appeal or aesthetic, which is like big knobs and like old stereo look, whereas the ICOM stuff does look a little bit more digital, buttons and touch screens and that type of thing. I do think that Yaesu has moved more in that direction recently, but you're absolutely right. That is, I think, a controversial decision as far as preferring the Yaesu UI.
I like the menus.
Over the
I want to be heard again.
Comparing that, Yaesu kind of has a fine line. I mean, they kind of do both. Look at the 500, gigantic knob, but also a touchscreen.
That's true. Which the smallest touchscreen known to man, by the way.
And I always forget it's a touchscreen, but it is a touchscreen.
Yep. If you have a tiny stylus in your pocket, you can use it. But if you have sausage fingers like myself, good luck.
I think for myself, maybe going back to Hamvention really quickly, because we're probably running a little bit out of time here.
We're here.
I'm curious to see in terms of solar panels. Again, we're pretty heavily, I think we made this clear by this point, we're pretty heavily in mobile operation and POTA. And, like power film solar with the crystalline PV, I think they are panels, the really lightweight, really foldable panels. I'm curious to see if the price starts to drop on those a little bit, because right now they're definitely out of my market.
Yeah.
Maybe if I spent a little less time buying two 891s, I could probably afford one. But just that type of mobile power. The LiPo are excellent batteries. But if you're going to go out and sit at a campground or a park somewhere out in the wilderness for a little while, it's nice to have that charging option. And those seem to be, from a portability standpoint, they can't be beat. And I have the Bioenno panels now. I'm trying to remember which model. They're great. Fold up to about briefcase size. Obviously much thinner than a briefcase.
Absolutely.
But it's still chunky. It's still a little bit of a pain to set up, and just to see where the panels start to go in the marketplace.
I think the power situation has evolved so quickly too. Batteries specifically, in the last couple of years, we've gotten much less expensive, high quality cells that are able to run our radios for longer in the field and more reliably than ever before.
So many manufacturers and options.
Yep. It used to be a very few that you could buy from, and you were looking at many hundreds of dollars to get a fairly small cell. But no, in the last even 12 months, I think we've seen a dramatic reduction in price and quality, and that's really exciting to see, because it does make the hobby more accessible, especially if you're going out with your radio and doing POTA, for example, or taking it mobile or going camping. It's just, there's so many applications. So Rory, that's a great thing to keep an eyeball out for at Hamvention is what's happening in the power space, because that's one of those things that's evolving really quickly.
And you mentioned the size and all that getting so much. That was probably my original barrier to entry to POTA, is I wasn't tuned in well enough to understand how good batteries and small batteries had become.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing online and some friends of mine purchasing, all these various batteries that exist now, and I'm like, I can get this little thing and go play radio for an hour, and then suddenly I'm out doing POTA all the time. So, yeah, it's all
the gateway.
It was. I still have some batteries here that are from that when I bought some that didn't last long. And anyway, but it's come a long way. Boy, getting me excited for Dayton. We still have a few months to wait.
It's going to come quicker than you expect. I have the campsite booked. I know that the entirety of the club, I think, well, not the entirety, but we have a good 10 or so people that are planning on coming.
We got a good caravan going at the campground. Cedar Creek. We'll have a good section, if you will, of club members, which is, again, that's some of the most exciting parts of it, is to go and see everything and everyone else's setups and shake hands and kiss babies. I love it. I love it. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's indicative of how vibrant the club is right now. I'll say that out loud again. We've seen a lot of new faces in our club this year, and a lot of faces that have not had these experiences that many of these long-term hams have. So looking forward to learning a little bit from you guys that have done it 4 times, Rory, 2 times, James, right? And going down there, and I'll find my way around. It'll be a little bit like Braille to begin with, right? I'm sure I'll make some mistakes. I'll wish that I did something a little bit different, but I think the second
ham
year,
radio Disneyland. You'll just be in awe. Yeah, it is a lot of fun, and it's there's so much to see, and that's the thing too. But kind of back to Roy's part, I'm excited now. I get to spend more time on those small niche things.
Yep.
That I can. My eyes will be wider, and it'll be fun.
Yeah, you'll be able to focus on the things that you're most interested this year,
Exactly.
right? You've learned a little bit from your previous visits, and now you'll take that back and say, I'm going to spend my time here because that's what's valuable to me as a ham.
Yeah, this year I'll be down there for the longest duration. I'll be spending the most time at Hamvention that I ever have. So it'll buy a lot of time to spend out at the flea market. I expect to walk around there and not have to rush through it, because to look at that whole thing, well, it's really two things. It's a lot to look at, and if you do it all at once, the ground is uneven and your back will start to hurt. So you have to break it up. And I'm not ready to be one of the scooter people at Dayton. So, I'm still a good 20 years from that. I hope.
Out, eh?
But yeah, that I intend to spend a lot more time out in the flea market this year, looking at treasures and not so much treasures, because that's the part that I've always had to rush through every year I've been there. So.
Well, the good news is you'll have a very interested pal in that experience, because I love a good deal and I love sifting through the ham radio junk. So we'll go out there and spend a day or two out there, whatever we need to find all the goodies.
The amount of club text messages we're all going to get of screen grabs of someone's table at the flea market from Jim is probably going to be. We're probably gonna have to block you, bud.
I did say that my grail item is to go find an Alinco DJ C5. It is their credit card transceiver, VHF, UHF, metal case, so it adopts the original style case, and it has the speaker built in, so you don't have to wear the stupid speaker in your ear. And I am excited. If I find one, I'm sure the battery's not going to work, but I'll take it apart. I'll fix the battery, and it's going to be awesome. There it is. Mark my words.
Such a big deal when that thing came out. I remember that. It was crazy.
Yep.
It was crazy. It was such a big deal. I don't know. You'll find one. There'll be one there somewhere, because
I'm holding out hope.
That's how Dayton works. There's one of everything.
If you're listening and you don't know what the Alinco DJ C5 is, go put it in Google and stare at it in awe. I'm just kidding. It is a really neat little rig.
No, you don't want to oversell it right now, because you want to try to find one.
That's right. Don't buy it. If you see it at Hamvention, tell them NAJRD will be around in short order to pick it up.
Yeah, put it behind. All right. So maybe before we go, a little housekeeping.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go for monthly format, I believe was what we're shooting for. So I think we have an Instagram, which is at
Rory.
Everyday Ham
Podcast.
There we go. We have an email address, so now we're official, everydayhampodcast@gmail.com. We're always looking for suggestions. We'll probably drop some content in between, let's say, the episodes.
The regularly scheduled episodes, yep.
But yeah, if anyone does like this, please share it with your fellow hams and friends, and we'll try to do this for ourselves here and share what we've learned with everyone else as well.
Yeah, I think this is an exciting opportunity. I think it's a good group of folks here. I'm excited to work with you guys on this. I hope that we do come up with a couple of interesting topics that pique folks' interests, and I am excited to see if we can get a couple of folks to give us good ideas as we progress. That won't be in the first couple of months. We're going to come up with some topics, and we hope that you're interested. But as we go, check out the Instagram there. Throw some ideas in the comments. All of us will be monitoring those, and we'll try to come up with some nice intermediate content, and love to hear feedback on how this first episode went. What did you like? What did we miss on? So that we can kind of evolve this as we go, because we're brand new. None of us have done a podcast before. We don't
know how to stay on topic. We've already realized that, and I don't think that's going to improve. I have no promises to that regard.
What we can maybe promise is the off topics will get a little more entertaining value for.
I can almost guarantee that.
Yeah, they will. We promise.
There we go.
So, all right. With that, thank you, everyone. And we look forward to staying in touch with everyone. So give us your ideas, give us your suggestions, and we'll keep doing this. So
7-3s, everybody. NAJRD signing off.
7-3. Good night.
That's it for today's Everyday Ham. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep enjoying the hobby.